Good morning.
Good afternoon,
Good evening.
wherever you are on our amazing, amazing planet. I'm Ariel.
I'm Shia.
Welcome to being here.
You know, I was just thinking.
What?
The other night, I was out on the back deck and I was looking up at the stars in our universe. And what an absolute gift it is to be alive.
Mm.
That the whole idea of being alive is so amazing. And to have cognitive realization that you are alive rather than worry about crazy, silly things that don't amount to anything. It really does have to do with how you hold your life and your existence. I hate to get too esoteric, but I really am amazed by humanity.
Mm.
So here we are. And what's interesting is your life shows up as a reflection of how you're being.
As I'm listening to you, I glanced over at the text because we have our template for today, so we know who our guests are, etc. And we have that text. It has everything to do with you. And have you ever noticed that how your life shows up corresponds to how you're being? Take a breath and relax into being here. You may be surprised what shows up. So, as I'm sitting here, I had no clue where you were going. And I actually did not know you stood out on our deck and looked at the stars and contemplated possibilities in life and experiencing being you. And I found myself relaxing into being here while listening to you. And yes, it is such a gift to be alive.
But you see, the problem is the static.
Mm.
What I mean is the constant conversations that bombard us in our thoughts about where we should be and what we should be doing, or we could be doing, or where we ought to be in our lives by now. That conversation,
And what
that
we
static keeps
and what we
us.
like and what we dislike.
Yeah.
I know this is a global show or a podcast. In fact, we have Cheryl who will be coming on from Hong Kong and Ursula from Switzerland. And at the same time, I'm quite aware that in the United States, we're moving forward to a national election cycle. And it's so easy also to get lost in your likes and dislikes, your wants and don't wants, and your preferences. And of course, your preferences exist. However, investing in them.
Well, sometimes it's a great way to avoid being where you are,
And intimacy.
That's right.
That as well. Should we take our first guest?
I'd love to.
Cheryl, welcome to being here. It's just a treat to have you here and also as a part of our community.
Hi, Aaron Shia. I'm so grateful that I found you guys one day, and it really is a community. I really feel like I have friends all over the world, and it's really special what you guys create. So I'm very glad to be here.
It's not an exclusive community,
Mm-hmm.
An inclusive community. If people feel to be part of it, they're welcomed.
Well, when you say that, thank you. I felt that. And I think you underestimate something, that you create this community. It does start with you. Back in August, we got to meet a friend of yours, Mina, and shout out to you, Mina. Out of her experience of you and you alone.
She traveled from Hong Kong to New York to attend the seminar with us.
And it wasn't that you were joining her, it was who you are and how you were being and your expression of this community and what's possible through it had her inspired enough to invest in herself, enough to travel to meet some folks and
Halfway around the world.
yeah. So when you thank us, thank you, but you can include yourself in being this beacon of possibility for people because you are.
Yeah, thank you. I feel a little bit of emotion coming up. I don't know. Yeah, it's great. I'm so inspired that she went as well. I mean, just
Well, here's the thing. You don't think that highly of you. So you don't think somebody meeting you would be inspired to travel halfway around the world to find out how you got to be you.
mm,
Now,
Really, it wasn't
yeah.
so much to meet us. It was like, I want to be like Cheryl. There's something about Cheryl. My beginning on this transformational journey that my life trajectory has taken off with had to do with a fellow in my acting class, and there was something distinctly different about him, and I wanted it. And he shared the beginnings of transformation with me. I did my first seminar, which was I ultimately met Shia at. It's like you are an inspiration.
the other thing, as you were saying what you just said, I realized you have to be willing to be supportable by other people. You know, I never could have become who I am had I not been willing to take seminars that other people had information that supported me in discovering my well-being, my greatness, my uh, being okay with myself being me. Most people are not okay with themselves being them. They think they need to improve and be better than they are to be okay. And you don't. You're okay exactly the way you are. And I'm not just talking to Cheryl, I'm talking to everybody out there.
And you can take a seminar because you have a passion for discovering what's possible. It's not an admission that you are broken. Maybe other places that's true, but not here. Here, I don't believe you listen to this, although there may be times that you've lost your way and listening to a podcast is a great recentering tool. But I have a feeling that people can feel themselves in this podcast. I know Ursula's coming up later, but they do have a saying in Germany and Switzerland, selber selber. It takes one to know one.
Mm,
It resonates that part in you that is full blown great.
yeah. That is a little hard to hear, but I can feel it at the same time. I can take it in, and in terms of inspiration and what you guys do, I joined regularly the 2-hour Living Made Easies, and I joined one today earlier, and I could relate to so many so many I guess so many topics or what a lot of different people were talking about, and not so much that I applied it to myself, but I could see little moments just kind of popping where, and in particular, I feel like I've been really hard on myself. Maybe that's just second nature, but someone was talking about, I think, being hard on themselves or maybe being a bit grumpy, and I just could see in myself how I had been and how I can get out of it, or I can just get engaged in what I'm doing, and it can be easy.
Well, look, if you notice that you've been grumpy, could you have not been grumpy when you were grumpy?
No, but I wish I could get out of it.
That's your preference. Your preference
Yeah.
is not to have gotten grumpy.
Well, let's take that individual who was so funny. You're like, I went to a Living Made Easy today. I'm like, what? We did one today? Then I realized, you're like 12, 13 hours ahead of us.
Oh,
So
yes.
it's like, okay, I get it. The person who was grumpy talked about being grumpy almost as an embarrassing admission.
Mm,
What's interesting is his grumpiness and talking about it was a gift to you. We think we're only a gift when we are operating within the parameters of our preference.
yeah, yes. And I can see my preference to have things or life or whatever a certain way just um got me there, or I got myself there by wanting things to be a certain way and just really
Yeah, but that's an
getting
interesting
stuck.
thing. You get upset, call it grumpy if you will. I call it upset
Mm,
when things don't go the way you want. But where did those wants come from? Where did that idea of how it's supposed to be get implanted in you that you will now upset yourself when things aren't the way you, quote, think they ought to be, unquote? Life shows up the way it does, not the way you expect or want. And it's about dealing with the moment as though this is it. And by the way, it is. See, uh, most of the world lives in a paradigm or dynamic called this isn't it. And things ought to be different. But what if things ought to be exactly as they are? And they're that way because we are the way we are. We're operating into our lives the way we are, and it produces life showing up the way it does. And if you don't like it, you got to start looking at, you don't have to do anything, but it's a possibility. Start looking at how you open a door, how you set down a plate, how you wash a dish, how you put down a piece of fruit on the counter.
Well, I saw that yesterday. I went, I think it was yesterday. I went shopping, food shopping, uh, and there was a gentleman there who had a cart fully filled with food, and I could tell that he was cooking for either an event or an organization because he was taking 10 things of pork belly and 5 things of this, and he had them in his hand and he was just chucking them in the cart.
mm,
I thought, wow, he has no clue that this is all part of the magic he's creating. This is just something to get through, to get on to whatever that event is. And that's how many of us are, or perhaps all of us are in those moments when
All of us
we
start out
forget.
that way, at least.
mm,
Don't have the grace to be gentle with ourselves in how we treat ourselves or others. And
mm,
this is really a time where people are starting to notice that you just can't be mean all the time.
mm.
It's an interesting time in our evolution.
I have a feeling, Cheryl, that you have a slight misconception that will plague you if you don't see it. It's like you were talking about your preferences as if there's something that are bad and confining and something to get away from. In my experience is you will always have preferences. And there's the possibility of noticing them rather than investing in them. It's a little bit like holding out your glasses in front of you because you're going to clean them, or putting them on and looking through them. And so, of course, you have a preference to feel well or not be upset or to uh, enjoy what you're up to. But in those moments when that's not your experience, or you're on your way somewhere and you're driving and the light turns red, you can either invest in your preference or recognize you have it go through, and it's separate from you. It's not
Mm. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I was clearing my throat at the same time. Detoxing or something.
Yeah, detox away. By the way, or any of you ever make it to Hong Kong, I hear that Cheryl is the sound meditation professional at the Four Seasons Hotel. So you can
Whoa.
go and have an experience with her, although she thinks she's only marginally successful.
That's right.
Well, yeah, I'm seeing myself differently, or how I am, thanks to you guys. And just one quick thing. But thank you for the shout out too. I really
Well, here's
appreciate
the other thing. The how you are is magnificent.
it. Mm,
You may not always experience yourself that way,
yeah.
but
Well, chances are you're going to experience your magnificence as you invest in the people around you. That's always been for me. Like recently, I found something at a consignment store for a friend of mine, and it was like, I'm so excited to send it to them. Uh,
Mm,
and it's like their magnificence, like investing them or coming to a Living Made Easy and seeing people, I start to experience me by investing in them. And I think most of the time most people are trying to make themselves feel better rather than invest.
yes, I can see the times that I've focused or just looked inward, trying to feel better, or get myself out of an upset, or just get lost and get lost there.
Mm.
So, yeah, thank you. I what I wanted to say as well is I've started, the topic is when we start getting involved, or when we start just getting into the moment, for lack of not remembering the full description. But I recently have been a little concerned about my health, because I just gained some weight and I wasn't feeling very well. And I have looked at what I needed to do, and I've been on this detox, and I've actually been eating really healthy and clean. And I've also started to notice that I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but I'm also starting to notice, as I get more involved in that, or more consistent with that, different things as well start to get easier, or just sort of blossom up, or I don't know, it just seems more smooth as I take action. If that, not necessarily take action, but if I'm like I'm also taking care of myself,
Mm.
different things have started opening up as well, which is a nice feeling.
Nice.
well, your life is a reflection of who you see.
Mm.
I particularly, everything you said there, I particularly enjoyed you saying, I enjoying what I'm doing, because lots of people go on a detox, or they're like, okay, I've gained weight, I'm not feeling it, I'm going to handle it. And then they wrestle themselves through the experience. And it's sweet to see you enjoying what you're up to.
It's nice if you enjoy what you're up to and everything falls into place on its own, rather than you have to try to direct your life. If you follow the way your life leads you, you might end up getting here.
Mm. Yeah, I like that. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Today.
thank you, Cheryl.
Really a treat. Alrighty then. Drum roll, please. You sound like our cat. It's time for our listener feedback spotlight. While Shai is here purring with me, we get to hear from one of our listeners
about how transformation has impacted their lives. And if you'd like to learn more or register for any of our upcoming courses, visit transformationmadeeasy.com.
Yeah.
And when I say easy, it's like the fire swamp.
Yeah, join us.
If you know your way through it, it's easy. If you have a good guide, it's easy. If you don't, well, there's rodents of unusual size. There's lightning sand.
all
What's the other
those.
thing?
I don't remember.
Oh, and the fire spurts.
There you
Right.
go.
There you go.
We're great
Transformation
guides.
made easy.
.com.
Hi, this is Dave. I'm in Oxford in England. I never imagined my life would be so full of magic that I would be able to even be here for it, which is being present in it and have the awareness to just enjoy it. And I learned that in Living Made Easy seminars that the Canes offer, and I invite you to join.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
As Cheryl was mentioning, we have Living Made Easy 2-hour virtual seminars on Monday nights, Saturdays. Well, for her, it's Tuesday mornings, and at least one Tuesday a month. You can check the website and register. You can come to any one of the Living Made Easies and come back as often as you like. For a deeper dip, we have weekend seminars coming up, and we're very excited to be coming to Hamburg, Germany, to do 2 courses. The first is The Freedom to Breathe on October 31st, and then The Art of Being Happy, November 1st through 3rd. They are going to be wonderful events. They're bilingual, German, English, and you're invited.
No, English, German.
Yes.
We speak English.
It's
They
German.
translate it to German.
Yes, that's true. English, German.
It
That's true.
wouldn't work very well if we worked the other way
If you
around.
tried us doing the German
No,
version,
it wouldn't. It would just
it'd be Jinglish. Yes.
Something.
Gibberish? I don't know what it would be.
Anyway, in any event,
Then we have a couple of virtual seminars coming up.
via Zoom.
December 7th and 8th, the course is Relax into Life. And Leap into Life is at the beginning of January, 4th and 5th. You can find out all about our seminars, including our Costa Rica seminar in January. It's getting close now. If you want to come, of course, the prerequisite is a weekend seminar first. You can find out everything and sign up for our newsletter
At transformationmadeeasy.com.
Miss Ursula, welcome to being here. Where are you zooming in from?
Hi there. I'm zooming in from my music studio room in St. Gallen, Switzerland.
Now, I know people can't see you like we can, but you have a cat standing on the
Back of your chair.
near your shoulder. What's your cat's name?
Yeah, the cat's name is Bacio, which is Italian for kiss.
Oh,
Gotcha.
And he likes to kiss, that one. Sometimes he just comes up and wants to be close and wants to take part in what's going on.
nice.
Right.
Well, welcome to you both. What can we do?
Thank you. Yes, it was so lovely to listen to the show up to now. I heard, I heard the things about, being hard on yourself and noticing that you're being hard on yourself and could be over. And I remembered that one thing that you said in those many years that I have been coming to seminars with you that really changed my life was that there is an automatic reaction to things that I cannot influence. But when I notice it, it can be over. And that it just occurred to me when I listened to the section before that, this being hard on myself could be one of those things, like
Yeah,
an automatic response. Like I've forgotten something and I go, oh, and then, so what?
Hey, with me, if I remember something that I forgot, I said, "Oh, that was good. Now I remember to do it."
I love it.
Rather than beat on myself for having forgotten.
I I like your take on what we said to you once about how there's an automatic response to things and you can't change it. That's true. Once you've had the automatic response.
You've had the response.
However, I have discovered that the automaticity of my life ebbs and flows. And sometimes that you're going somewhere and the light turns red and it's just a red light. And other times there's the automatic rush or the automatic response or the thought that goes by. And I have a feeling, Ursula, that you haven't caught how often your life is not automatic now. If you have the expectation, you will always have the automatic responses. Because it used to be if Shy had something to say, like, can I tell you something? I'd get like that rush of, oh my God. And occasionally I might, but it's like, yeah, sure. What do you have to say? It's that automatic reaction has bled away unless I'm upset. And then anything is reactivatable. So it may be that the reactive nature of you now is primarily, if not solely, dependent on whether or not you're upset.
Okay. Yes.
Because transformation is instantaneous. It happens outside of time and it is cumulative. It's like you get.
Well, you don't have to make decisions to be a better you. As you fall into the moment, you become appropriate to the circumstance and the situation and the moment. And so you do what needs to be done, and it doesn't create, excuse me, a backlash or you go seamlessly through life rather than creating upset everywhere you go. See, and there was a time that upset was your friend.
Oh, yes. Close friends. Yes, yes. Cohabitants.
Cohabitants.
Yes. That's what I thought she said.
Company. It kept you company.
It keeps you company, and it's a great way to avoid intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be intimate. I'm so upset.
I believe it was, back however many years ago when we wrote our second relationship book, How to Have a Match Made in Heaven. And it had lots of different vignettes taken from videos that we'd done with people. And one of them was you. And I recall how excited you were when you discovered you could be intimate with your salad, that your salad had a, I recall, and the waitress who brought it, and that you had this spontaneous experience of the brilliance of you.
I remember that. Yes, that was such a discovery that everything was there to be intimate with. And I had this today too. I was teaching. I'm a teacher for singing and piano playing at a school, and I got quite a few new students, and some of them don't have a piano yet at home to practice. So one girl came and she's a very, very like tall, beautiful Bosnian woman with a funny name. Her last name is, I said, is your name really Music? And she said, no, it's Music. And I said, oh, okay. I thought I finally got somebody who's called music. And so she of course didn't practice because she didn't have an instrument yet. So and I could feel this, oh gosh, what are we gonna do today? And that and then I suddenly said to her, can you read music? And she said, well, I sort of know one or two. And I said, you know what? And for her lesson alone, I'm not in my usual room. I am in a school room for classes that still has a blackboard. And the blackboard has one of the blackboards has lines for music writing on it. And I said, you know what? We're gonna go and I give you a crayon. And I hadn't held a crayon for maybe about 40 years. I hadn't been writing on a blackboard for a long, long time. And we had such fun creating like clefs for music and explaining things. And then at the end I said, well, there must be a sponge somewhere. We got to do it right, or the others will, they'll discover that somebody has been writing on this and not cleaning it properly. So we had fun cleaning it and doing the spatula thing. And it was just such a beautiful discovery, both of us. And I didn't feel that it was a wasted lesson. And we had fun. And I think, if anything, I learned from you, it was how to have fun in my life.
Mm.
It's amazing. I didn't know
Growing
there
up in
was so
Switzerland,
much.
I can understand that,
And you no longer wear beige.
right?
No. My
Yeah.
goodness, it was such a lovely, lovely lesson. And
I'm so happy for you both.
yeah, it's such a sensuous thing to write on a blackboard with a crayon.
So were you using chalk or crayons?
Yes, chalk. Yeah. Oh, I
You
mean,
said crayons. I
chalk.
start thinking your
Mm.
color chalk.
No, oh, that's called chalk. Yes, white chalk. So it makes a sound. It does, it's
Yes.
beautiful.
Well, the other thing is when you erased it, you talked about squeegeeing it off,
Yes.
and that's something they don't do here anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's like whiteboards and
Right.
things like that. So
yeah.
very
No,
fun.
it's great fun.
Super, super.
Well, I'm glad you're having fun with your life. That's
Oh, thank you so much.
Mm.
You showed me the way, and I went it.
thank you.
Yeah, that old thing, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You say we showed you the way, but you're the one who has your eyes wide open and said, let me
Go this way.
I think it takes a really strong
Courageous
person
person
to
look at
learn.
their lives. It's interesting. The game of waking up or enlightenment or self-discovery is a serious game that we don't take seriously, but you really have to have the courage to keep going. And I don't say this to you because I'm afraid you're not going to keep going. It's just for other people. Because if you close your eyes to what you've discovered, you go deeper to sleep than the way you were before you ever started the game. And this is really a game about waking up, about discovering your greatness, your ability to do simple things that you thought you couldn't. And your thoughts used to dictate your life. And now you see that you are capable.
Yesterday I was at the grocery store to purchase food because I was going to be out and about, and it made sense for me to stop by the store on the way home. And so I said, I'd really like to have salmon for dinner. And I said, I think you should go out because I can't pick a good piece. And he looked at me like, what? What flew out of my mouth was an old idea And we both looked at each other and I said, okay, I will go. I picked a beautiful piece of salmon. We had a lovely dinner, but I find it fun to see all the misinformation that's lodged in there. And sometimes I express it. And if neither of us take it seriously, then there's the next moment. And just saying, it was fun.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Old ideas.
Mhm. We're full of them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And until the moment shows up, you can't shake yourself free of them. So when your music or music student showed up and she clearly didn't have a instrument at home to practice on, the idea that you needed to work on a piano with somebody who worked on something at home wasn't available to have that shake free out of your tree to look at what was appropriate and what was possible. And from that, you created a lesson that was inspiring for you both and probably for the listeners as well.
Yeah, it was so lovely because it was that big classroom. There's even a really nice old sofa on it. So we sat on the sofa and compared notes on sheet musics and stuff. So I said to her, well, come on, let's make ourselves comfortable. We don't have to sit at the piano. There's a sofa here. And we just had so much fun.
Well, it's fun being with you. You brought your fun here today as well.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks so much for being with us, Ursula, and for being part of our community. And we just love you.
And part of our lives.
Mhm.
Well, and I'm going to see you in Hamburg
Oh, excellent.
with my mum, Rosie.
Excellent.
Yes.
Give Rosie our love, will you?
Yeah, tell her we're
I
looking
will.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh, wow. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can subscribe, you can share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our newsletter. In fact, it's translated these days, the blogs and whatnot, into German. So if you are a German speaker, you can get the blogs in German. Of course, if you don't understand what I'm saying, but you can still send it to your German-speaking friends. You can find all our courses and the newsletter link to sign up at transformationmadeeasy.com. And next week's podcast is called
It's Fun.
It's Fun. It's always fun how it seems like as we have the arc of a show, it leads right into what's coming up next.
Yes.
So we'll be back next week.
So come on back.
And don't miss
being here.